Hello, everyone. We are live. This is Arsenal Fan Circle, um, Season 2, Episode 36. Mahir is here with me from Gundam News.
Good evening, everybody.
Rohan is with me
What's up,
again.
guys?
And
Yeah.
Tony Turner.
What's up, everybody?
Glenn will be welcoming. Glenn will be in a little bit as well. 8 minutes of extra time. So, yeah, it's a running theme here. We never get off. We never get started on time, right? So, Stephen Denham, thanks for joining me, and Glenn will be joining us. And yeah, but football's back. Rowan, football's back. Arsenal had a game yesterday.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That football was back yesterday, and
Yeah,
it was great, right? We got off to a great start. The boys were looking sharp, so good day, good outing.
well, let's see if I can share the screen here. We're gonna play. We're gonna play the highlights here, and we can just
Hmm.
commentate while it's playing.
Maybe start with the lineup.
Yeah, go ahead. Start with the lineup.
Oh, I need to pull it up then. Right. So
Oh,
off of my memory, Leno
Top of
was
your head, yeah.
in goal. Leno, Tierney, Murray, and Mustafi. And Socrates seemed to be playing right back. That's what I gathered from some of the videos that I saw. Was this the back four, or was there someone else? Tony,
I think it
Mahir?
was a back four. I think maybe Ainsley Maitland-Niles was playing on the right side.
Oh, okay. Because I felt like he was playing in the midfield, and then who all were there in the 11? So we had Maitland-Niles, we had Joe Willock, Lacazette, Pepe, Aubameyang, and was Ceballos playing?
Yeah, to be honest with you guys, I just watched highlights in terms of goals. I didn't necessarily
Yeah,
watch
I
it
mean,
like what the lineup.
the highlights that came out were like 3 minutes or something. So
Yeah.
it wasn't like a whole lot to go by actually.
Yes, it was only against Charlton, but it's good to have football back. We are expecting football in, well, I think it's less than a week, or maybe I think it's about 10 days.
10 days, yeah, 17.
And it's going to be crazy to see the whole atmosphere and us trying to fight to see where we end up. Even with our simulation that we did on a recent podcast,
Hmm. Hmm.
which was damn interesting, if I must say so myself, with us ending in fourth place now.
Right.
All right.
Yeah, man.
If
What
this
really?
works.
What can you say?
Did that work? That did not work. You couldn't see anything, right?
Just, just saw your whole screen instead of just the video.
Apologies for this. There
No
we go.
worries. We'll get through this.
Now we got it.
Of course.
Now we got it. Now we got it. So I'm going to cue this
Yeah.
up.
There you go.
Take it back.
Nice.
Yeah, and
Nice.
some good. We've been waiting for this kind of football. Um, let's just watch this and then we'll comment on it.
An interception.
There we see Ainsley Maitland-Niles breaking through as well. David Luiz with the long pass to Ainsley Maitland-Niles
Mhm.
who knocks it down for Lacazette. A nice finish.
That was a brilliant finish, and that's the thing about Lacazette, right? Confidence player. He has to hit the ball the first time. If it was, if he took one or two touches, that chance would have gone.
Bernd
Exactly.
Leno, a great save here. And we're going to need Bernd
Yeah.
Leno in the 10 games coming up.
Hmm. That was a really good save.
Aubameyang looking dangerous on the left wing, and Reece Nelson with the shot. Another good save by the Charlton keeper.
Yeah, fantastic save.
Yeah, but again, Aubameyang playing on the left. This is, I mean, why are we trying to pursue with that? Like,
Yeah,
I'm not liking that.
Hey, if you took to the link I sent you yesterday.
Ainsley Maitland-Niles with the shot. And here we go. Here's the John Terry Aubameyang moments with the goal. Falling down,
Wait.
he's still able to put it in the net.
That's how good he is. That's how good he is.
Yeah. Into the second half then.
Sign him up.
And all in all, a good run out for the lads. And Ketche comes in and starts scoring goals.
That was a good save.
So Papa with the through ball to Nketiah.
Yeah, see, he
over
was
the
playing
top.
on the right side. He seemed like he was playing right back there.
Right back at that point, yeah. I think Bellerin came in a little bit later as well. So the whole squad got some minutes.
Good to see Turney back in the squad, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah, really good.
Oh, yes.
I don't know if that was
But did
offside or not.
Saka and Martinelli, did they feature? Because I don't think I saw them in the highlights.
Martinelli is here on the pitch, yes.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Even Kolasinac. Here's Joe Willock, and Joe Willock, just the kind of player we need in midfield coming forward. The ball is played and finishes it.
His was a good finish, Joe Willox.
And right at the end, Martinelli gets clotheslined. But a good run out for everybody.
Good, Renat, yes. Nice.
Nice.
Warm up.
Yeah, 6 goals, hat trick by Nketiah, Aba, Laka, and Joe Willock. So all our strikers getting goals. Uh, one of our midfielders also getting goals, which is great. So it was a positive start. I think it always reminds me of, they said in The Longest Yard, right? Like before going into the season, they sort of play a minnow and they beat them. They batter them really to get the confidence up. And not that Charlton are so bad, but Arsenal just proved that they have the quality to really put them to the sword.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's go through some of the comments. And Chahat is here. Thanks for joining us, Chahat. Hope everyone's well. Lacazette scored a screamer from Steve. And Len, yeah, I wasn't quite sure about that, Len. YouTube could probably pull down the stream, but we'll see what happens with that.
No,
Like,
commentating on videos is allowed. I don't think that this will get a strike.
okay. The assembled, good day, everyone. And yeah, so good run out for everyone. And definitely, I think there's more games going to match games going to be played to get our fitness up to speed. Latest round of COVID testing in the Premier League has no positive results, so that's good news as well. Did anyone notice that Charlton had any clear chances? Remember, in the Premiership, Joe's chances would put away. Yeah, and there was a couple of decent chances for Charlton in that run out.
Mm-hmm. Leno with a couple of good saves. So thankfully he wasn't just a bystander there.
Yeah, definitely the goalkeeper needed to get a little bit of work, and we know in the Premier League he's going to get the work. that's a given. Socrates on the right again. I don't like
against City.
Socrates. Yeah. Great to see Arteta's experimenting a bit. Yeah. So, with all of that being said, we wanted to take a look as well where we are this season. And it's almost as if Stan had said it's like a new season. We've got a 10 game. We've got a quick burst here. But worrying signs for me. Uh, the club is actively trying to reduce their overheads, less scouts, and we have less transfers than our rivals. And I wanted to sort of take stock and ask, where are we now? You know what I mean? So, is the club going to support Arteta in the market? We're seeing, uh, we're a little bit nervous. I'm a little bit nervous because Chelsea have invested in Timo Werner, Ziyech, which is a player we could have really done with. And who's the other player, the American player from last
Pulisic.
season? Pulisic, yeah, as well. Now we're not in the market for a team of Werner, at least not at this point in time. But we do need to work in midfield and defense, and I'm wondering what we can do um, in terms of that. And the Partey deal is still hanging out there, and we're waiting for the club to do something on that.
Pay him 42 million and get it over with.
What's that, Tony?
That pay him 42 million and get it over with.
Yeah, let's pay up and get it done because if we get Thomas Partey in the house, and we keep the majority of our players now, with Partey could come a swap deal. Not here. It could be a Lacazette. It could be a Bellerin. It could even be two players to get Thomas Partey in.
That would I don't know. It just depends on which two players it is, or if it's one player. Such as, because from what I heard recently, there hasn't been any news, but apparently we're so cash strapped we can't get Max Aarons in from Norwich, which would cost about 20 to 30 million pounds. So that's about worrying.
Yeah, Rohan. The club has reduced its network of scouts throughout the world as well.
Is it because we weren't really getting too much
Yeah, we weren't really getting too much scouts in.
yeah, getting a youngster
But technical difficulties, please hold with us, guys.
Yep. Finish that thought, Mahir.
You know what? I don't know about firing a lot of these scouts that we have gotten off our books. I think they seem to all be part time. I'm not condoning it, but also our lack of recruitment, like a lack of recruitment team, since even like someone like Sven Muslintat managed to get in quite a few good transfers. You know what I mean? These are the type of scouts that we do need to be keeping, because when you're looking for cheaper alternatives to some of the more expensive players, such as like the Upamecano's of the world, as badly as we need a centre back, you actually need the scouts to go out there and spot young talent who within the next few years, a good example is Max Aarons, actually, because he has the qualities in a lower tier team to really kick it up a notch, or to upgrade. For example, if we sell Bellerin and we get in Max Aarons, that's an immediate upgrade as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
A lot of gooners think the same.
Rohan, you have an opportunity. Just you broke up there, so finish your thought process on the scouts.
Yeah, so what I was saying was that I don't know if they feel that we weren't getting enough output from the scouts, and then, if I'm happy that if they take them out and we just sign world-class players, but that's not going to happen, right? So, I'm not really sure what the direction is, because getting one player worth their salt saves a lot of money. We spent 8 million on Martinelli, let's say. If Martinelli had progressed like this with some other team, what would his price tag be, right? We wouldn't even be in the market. And you have to think in those terms, that you save money like that. But I just hope that
Rohan,
there's some thought process.
are we cutting our nose off to spite our face because of that? We're trying to reduce our outlay in paying scouts, which probably don't get paid an awful lot in the grand scheme of things, and they would reduce the amount of transfer outlay we're going to have ultimately. But now we're going to have to pay through these super agents higher fees, higher wages.
Exactly. I mean, getting one deal in also. That is why you spend on having an academy, right? Like one player can pay for the whole academy.
Yeah.
And, that's what you think. You need one player to emerge every few years and you're good. So that's the same thing with the scouting network. But, the bottom line is that the club needs to support Arteta. And if they don't, then it's an issue and the fans know where the blame lies.
Yeah, there can
So,
be no place to hide anymore, Tony. If the club does not back up the new coach, we know what the team looks like, and we know that we need reinforcements, especially in midfield.
yeah, hopefully they take the handcuffs off and help Arteta out instead of
Yeah.
doing the silly stuff we've been doing the last few years.
So I want to say hi to a few more people. Carol's come in. Hi, Carol.
Hi,
Hi,
Carol.
everyone. We used to have one of the biggest and best scouting networks. Will this reduction hurt us? I think, Rohan, it's a good question. Will this hurt us in the long run?
I think it would because we're not a club that goes and buys mega stars, right? Like we would love to be. And if that was the situation, I'd be happy. But we're not. So we're waiting for ourselves to get those deals. But then maybe they've done a review in the last 10 years on the youngsters that we've invested in, your Yaya Sanogos of the world, which has just backfired. But like I said, you just need that one player to pay for the whole system. I don't think the scouts earn that much, in terms of they don't earn Mesut Ozil money, right? So it's not like changing them or cutting them off has such a big impact on the overall scheme of things.
Yeah. I think definitely it's going to hurt us in the long run because we're not going to unearth those talents that as Rohan said, we usually shine them up. They stay with us for a few years and we sell them for a profit. Now, there's going to be more onus on Mikel Arteta's skills as a coach in terms of improving existing players. And we all know the existing players that we have right now. Uh, Xhaka, Colonel Mustard, Socrates, all of those kind of players. And even the young players, some of them who will be lacking in confidence. I've noticed Joe Willock is one that was lacking confidence throughout the season, and hopefully he can kick on a little bit again. And we saw Ainsley Maitland-Niles in midfield, and I wonder if he's going to be tried in midfield. For me, I know it was just a practice match, but I was seeing Ainsley Maitland-Niles get into the box and make those runs when our existing midfielders were not doing that. Um, Mahir, did you see anything else in those clips?
From what I noticed is on the right hand side, for example, if you do sell Bellerin, you've got Ainsley Maitland who can play on the right hand side, and if you sign Cedric Suarez as well, there's two. There's your two right backs. Although I do really think that we need a first choice right back. Like
Yeah.
there are 2 3 names that I could mention. It's just I don't see right now Arsenal doing this since we are so cash strapped.
And this is a good point from Stephen. Our scouts needed chasing. They weren't doing the jobs very well, in all honesty, were they? We relied, Rowan, we relied so many years on Arsene Wenger knowing the French market and bringing in young French players way ahead of
Exactly.
before anyone else was doing anything like that.
And that edge was gone because that time it was innovative to have that scouting network and not just go by the academy, but have a scouting network and know the market and penetrate into the market and really get the best players. But that's gone. You see teams like, Leicester's done it in the winning season. They picked up bargains, right?
Yeah.
Wolves have done it. There are so many teams now. Every team has a lot of their scouting network available. That being said, maybe there's a thought process that our academy, because we've looked at the young players that we have in comparison to a lot of other teams, we've got a good level of young players in our team. So maybe they've thought that we have enough in the academy, and then we just concentrate on a few jurisdictions to pick up players from there instead of having a super wide scouting network.
Like the assembled said, every company's been asked to do more with less people now in this day and age. So they're asking our scout network to do twice as much with half of the personnel. So I, for one, am not confident that that can happen. It hasn't been happening, and so we're at a more of a disadvantage under these circumstances. Um, Stephen, no, not in recent years. Maybe they were too complacent, just taking it easy. We've heard all the stories about Dick Law being all over Costa Rica and how that didn't go so well in past times. But some things that are just worrying me right now. And Stephen, yeah, I think we should replace them, not just get rid of the old scouts and bring in no replacements. We still need scouts. Yeah, and I think it's essential to still have scouts, but the network is being vastly reduced. If they're just having a holiday, it's not going to work. Steve Rowley isn't there anymore, is he? Is Steve Rowley there anymore? I don't believe so, right?
No.
Everyone is caught up. We didn't improve on what we had sold most of the players found for profit. So yeah, the market is really caught up to us, Mahir. And
But we didn't do.
we no longer have that edge that we used to have under Wenger.
I mean, if we were going to be clever, we could have done that a long time ago. Maybe found bargains and sold them at a higher profit. I mean, even for example, free agents. Somebody like Juventus is doing, or did, is still doing, where they find free agents, and then even if they can move them on at a 10 million profit to another club, I mean, it's 10 million banked. They'll have basically paid for a player on loan, for example.
Carl says, rightly so, our focus has not been on scouts for years. I don't even know the name of our head scout now, and that's a good point. And we were talking about Charlie before we came on air when we were in the green room. I hear your friend is here, Charlie Harris,
Charlie!
Mr. Prison Break. He's back.
Yo!
You're sporting the Hector Bellerin haircut as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a new trend with me. I feel, every so once in a while when it gets cut, I feel fresh. I feel new, like a new person.
Yeah, we're polar opposites, really. I've got the hair, and you've shaved it off. I'm
You're having summer here in South Africa. We currently in a little bit of a cold streak at night,
yeah,
especially
cold
sometimes in the morning.
cold in the southern hemisphere, and it's warm up here in the northern hemisphere. So yeah,
Yeah,
I
two
was just
jackets.
gonna say, imagine putting my bobbin on top of your head and me going for this close shave. That would be quite something.
I'm gonna Photoshop it one morning before work. I'm gonna Photoshop it.
And this is very true. In some ways, Rohan Arsene Wenger was our
Do it
chief
all.
scout and our best scout in the last 20 years.
He was he was the scout, he was the groundsman, he was the coach, he was the management, he was everything really, and that shows what an immense job he did, right? And the fault is of the club for we've been doing this cost cutting since 1996, right? We've just given all of these tasks to Wenger and not thought that he should concentrate on the first team. Like it was his responsibility to build the academy grounds, and it was his responsibility to conduct the AGMs, etc.
Yeah.
And that was always going to be a difficult task for the next manager to come in, because nobody can take that in the modern day. Nobody does that much. The manager or the coach, like we've seen even for Arsenal, is responsible only for the first team,
That's
and
And
it.
we
you
didn't have a network in place to take care of everything.
and you see right now, Rohan, we have more personnel, more backroom staff, but they don't seem to be doing as effective a job as Arsene Wenger seemed to have done over those years.
Practice makes perfect, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
he knew how to run everything for 20 years, and it's always going to take some more time. And especially for a club like us, who won't throw money at a problem just as a solution. We have to find the way to sort of go forward, which is why I always thought, maybe we should have Wenger as in an advisory position, right? Like, I think there was some talk of Wenger coming back to Arsenal, right? Like, I mean, there was some talk. I don't know if there was any truth in that, but I don't think it was going to be anything to do with the first team, but something like an ambassadorial role, like Sir Alex has, plus just guiding the club, being an advisor, a consultant to steady the ship, because we're all over the place right now. But
Right now, we're
I
all over the
think
place.
I think people's pride is just too much, and that has just led to you know the club's downfall, really.
And Mahir, I think we're in danger of leaving Mikel Arteta to do too much on the playing field as well, especially with our keystone crew that we have.
Yeah, that's why, in most companies, there's one person behind the scenes running a team of people. So, for example, where they gave Wenger so much to do, he tried to do absolutely all. And in his latter years, that was his downfall, not having a whole support structure behind him, like a sporting director, head scout, all these people in place to help him build his squad and have him focus on just running the first team. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah. And we're going to get into it a little bit more. I can see in the comments there's a lot going on, so we'll get through it. A lot of Leicester's signings for the first team have been quality, and if we were linked with them, our fan base would cry, wanting bigger names. Stop being snobby. You don't always have to spend big. I think it's a huge point as well, Mahir. I think that's a huge point. Look at Liverpool right now. They have assembled their team, and three or four of their players at least have come from lower teams in the lower parts of the Premier League.
I mean, you've got the Andy Robertsons of the world. You've got them also being smart when they sold their big players for big money,
Yeah,
because they went on and replaced them with names like Van Dijk, who at that time was an absolute steal. Even we were being linked to Van Dijk and were saying, he's from Southampton. What he's just an average centre back. And look what it's done to improve their squad. They
yeah.
sold Coutinho. They bought a goalkeeper, a world class keeper, and another name in. I mean, replacing quality with even better quality and more elite players. That's how you improve your squad.
And that's it, Rohan. We seem to, in the last couple of years, have got passed by with by other teams that were traditionally mid-table teams. We lost our way in at the latter years of Arsene Wenger's reign, and then trying to establish our setup, our backroom staff correctly.
It's a mammoth task, right? Because nobody knows what to do, because they centralize the power so much, and now they're paying for it, which is why the only way to sort it out is to have professionals who know what they're talking about. Raul has his little book of with which he conducts all of his dealings, and he goes to
Yeah,
super agents. So you might get a Pepe, but you will also get a David Luiz or a Cedric Suarez, right? Like, that's the harm in it. the shift in our club is that earlier we never wanted to deal with these super agents, and now we seem to be in bed with them. So we've gone from one side to the other side. So whatever it is, it only we need to perform on the pitch, right? Now, what Liverpool have done, which are the players that they've picked up? They've picked up Robertson from Hull,
Robertson. Yep.
Wijnaldum from Newcastle. Milner is a utility man who they got from Man City.
Mhm.
And the rest of the squad, if you look at it, Salah, Mane, Van Dijk, all of them
Southampton.
Salah was having a great time at Roma. Mane and Van Dijk were already really good and in the Premier League. So we could look at things like that. That's why I thought that last year we could have maybe gone for Alderweireld, right? Like that would spite Spurs. That's one positive about it. Plus, the fact is that he was on a free. I don't know if we made a move for him. There are so many players that we have spoken about on a regular basis. You don't need a large scouting network for Max Aarons, for example. He's the Robertson, right? Like, I mean, he's comparable to
Yeah.
Robertson, a team
Yeah.
that's going down. And we are all saying that. So, it's on the club to make it happen.
Yeah. The assemble side, Carl staff cuts. Wenger worked with a team of scouts. And here's a question, Charlie. Thanks for the question, Charlie. Great show, lads. If Tierney is back and fit, where does Saka fit? Left wing has been either Aubameyang or Martinelli. Rohan?
Yeah, we've said this before. I want to see next season Saka and Martinelli playing on the left side. There's enough games. Traditionally, we're at least going to
Yeah,
play 50 to
occupying
55 games.
occupying the same spot, right?
Yeah, 50 to 55 games in a season. You give each of them 25 to 30 games. That's more than enough at that age. And Auba needs to play in the center, and
Mhm.
Laka needs to be either on the bench or he needs to be sold for quality that we need in other places.
Over swapped. Mahir, do you have Tierney as your left back, and what do you do with Saka and Martinelli?
As Rowan said, I would also love to see them both on the left hand side. I feel like they could complement each other extremely well, like extremely well for a
Yeah,
long time.
yeah.
And like Charlie asked, if Tierney is back, where does Saka fit in? So yeah, I think we'd put both of them there because Oba is a striker. You want him centrally. And
And,
Laka, as Rowan said, it's plain and simple. Laka either gets sold for for better quality, or he's on the bench. We use him as a super sub. And
yeah,
Martinelli is also another striker, a young upcoming striker who I just hope hits the pinnacle. I hope he's consistent for a long time to come, and he becomes one of the most loved players at Arsenal.
but Charlie, I actually think that we could incorporate all of these players into a 4-3-3. Tierney would be your left back. Saka could be your left-sided midfield player, and Martinelli could actually be your left-sided winger or striker.
Wow.
And I
So
think,
in fact,
yeah, go ahead, Ron.
here's the transfer strategy, right? Like you and everyone else on the comments can everybody can comment on this. We've got three players of value, right? One is Lacazette, Mustafi, and Kolasinac because we got him on a free. If we sell these three players, and for left back as a backup, we get Kurzawa on a free again, we've covered that spot, and then we've got money from three of these players, which could fund our central midfield and our defensive woes, and maybe the right back. So all of these situations will be sorted in that way. That is how we move ahead. And if people agree, and if fans can see that, then I don't know why the club can't see it.
Yeah. Okay, let's address the elephant in the room right now. So Chelsea Chelsea have gone out like we mentioned earlier, and let's get into this. Chelsea have gone out and shown with Pulisic and with
Warner.
Ziyech, and now with Timo Werner, because they have met the valuation of the buyout clause that Liverpool were not willing to do. Um, they're showing real intent now to push on into the top four through the signings. Um, where are we right now, Tony? Mid sip. Where does that leave us right now with all of that swirling around, Tony?
As a mid-table team like we've been the last few years.
Yeah, we're being left behind. Rohan, we're being left behind by the ambition of other teams that are passing us by. And we talked about Newcastle as well on this podcast. How long until Newcastle, serious question, drifts up past us in the league as well, and we're shuffled down another spot?
Let's hope it's not this summer. I mean, the way we are going and the way Newcastle is going, it could be. You see, the fight for top four is becoming more and more intense, and it's becoming more and more important to solidify that spot. And we could do it with a few signings. I don't think our team is that bad, but the issue is that we are bad in critical spots. That is the issue with the team.
Yeah.
And like 4, 5 players, if we change them, we could have a team that could challenge for top four at least.
Our midfield right now with Rohan is woeful. It does not work at all. It doesn't mesh our defense with our attack together at all.
It does not. Our gameplay goes from defense to Aubameyang. That's how our game goes. And midfield is disjointed. It doesn't connect the defense to the offense, and it does not protect the defense either. So that's the major problem. You've got to dominate midfield, and it does not mean that you're just that creativity is important. For example, Liverpool, I don't think their midfield is creative, or Henderson has come up with a few goals, but traditionally he doesn't score too many, so they're not relying there. But their midfield is strong, powerful, running, covering every blade of grass, and making it impossible for the team to play. Like they said, right? Like when you go to Liverpool, you feel like they're choking you, and
Yeah,
that's all done because of their midfield, which is so efficient.
yeah, yeah. There's been some talk here about Arsene Wenger coming back. Do you actually feel, Rohan, that he would come back if he had the opportunity?
I read somewhere that Arsene Wenger will not even attend a game at the Emirates, and whoever
Yeah,
has I would love to know who has rubbed him on the wrong side, so
up
much
the wrong
that
way. Yeah,
it's disgraceful. It's disgraceful. He is the ambassador of our club. He's the greatest manager that we've had. He's put his life, all of his life's work has been Arsenal, and then the way he has been treated is, I think somebody should take accountability, and I want that person out of the club.
and Steven said that Wenger did towards the end of his reign. He did cover for the board a lot. We've had enough of that look, and look at the mess we were left in.
That's the way any corporate works.
Um, Carl, I'm not so sure he had the final say. Arsenal wouldn't pay the transfer fee. It wasn't just his decision. Financial fair play came into it. Now, is this something that is valid for us, financial fair play, Tony?
No,
Other teams seem to be able to circumvent financial fair play. Well, how come we're so bad at it?
because we pay people like Ozil 350,000 a week.
Is that the easy answer? Blame Mosul?
No, I
Is
think what Tony's trying to say is actually, Rohan, what he's trying to say is we're paying a lot of players who are average at best,
Average
have
players.
very high wages. Like 2, 3 players will be on 100,000. This adds up to like 500,000, where you can be getting 2 players, quality players at that price. Like that is their wages. Maybe like 150 for a player such as like Timo Werner, for example. No, I'm not saying Timo Werner, but for example, a player like maybe even Kovacic.
He's a
And
player.
Rowan, in terms of Stephen's comment here, you could probably field. I know Wenger was at the club for 22 years. You could probably field a team, a very, very good team of all the players that we actually missed out on, that we could have signed, but for various reasons we didn't. Uh, Stephen says Wenger was told about Victor Wanyama by an old scout who used to work for us, but we could have got him for a bag of footballs and goalposts, but we never signed them.
That's true. And again, I don't know if this Stevens comment is pre Southampton for Wanyama or after, because when he was at Southampton, he was one of the guys that I also said that we should sign. You didn't need a scout. Once these guys are in the Premier League, you don't need a scout for that. And I felt like Wanyama was good, but since he's gone to Tottenham, he's not performed really that great, right? He's not a mainstay in a team. His trajectory hasn't really been that way. So I wouldn't really consider that a miss, considering that we almost signed Ronaldo and Messi.
Yeah, Ronaldo was so close apparently. Um, Carl, does the Rude deal mean anything to anyone? We could have signed him at 50 or Arsenal declined. These things happen. I think that may be a player's name, but I'm not sure.
Maybe Ruud van Nistelrooy.
Yeah.
Maybe. I still feel like I can do that for Firmino job. I think if we're going to get Partey, it's going to involve a player swap at this point. Um, Tony wants to pay cold hard cash, but I don't know if it's there in the banks.
You got
Martinelli on the Charlie Martinelli on the right also might work. So Martinelli played in the Burnley game, and that was probably Arteta's worst game. And I don't think it was Martinelli's fault. Um, that Arteta was trying something new, and Aubameyang was coming back from his ban. It was his first game back. He was ring rusty in that game. We can't always rely on Aubameyang to score goals, but he did miss 3 clear-cut chances. And if you remember, Burnley probably should have beaten us on the day they hit the crossbar. But Martinelli on the right doesn't work because of that game. We saw that, and Martinelli's best place is on the left wing or central. I think that Rohan. Let's go down this rabbit hole a little bit. I think Arteta is still intent on shoehorning Lacazette into the team.
I mean, he has to play him if he has to get some value off of him. I just hope that's the situation. Arteta can see that, what we can see, I'm pretty sure Arteta can see. We don't need to
Yeah.
keep persisting with the same thing. You're curtailing the development of two young, exciting players, and you're playing a guy who was out of form. If he is in form, I like Lacazette. I don't have an agenda against Lacazette. I like Lacazette. Yesterday's goal was great, and that is what Lacazette is great at. He's got great strike, but it has to be instinctive. When he's out of form, he's just a passenger, in the team. And he has value. Why don't we take him out? Aubameyang's a better player than him. We all know that.
Yeah, Tony, as Rohan said, Lacazette is an instinctual type of player.
Yeah,
And when
pretty
you
much
when
told you,
you
right, Tony?
when he needs to think, he's really a goal poacher, Tony. When he's in the box.
Yeah, he's has an eye for goal, and When he's on his game, it's hard to beat him.
Yeah, and if he's the kind of striker, if he has time and space, he probably won't score. But if he's about to be closed down, he's going to score that goal, right, Mahir?
Yeah, I mean instinct. That's kind of the feeling you get from a striker like Aubameyang.
Yeah. A big up to Andrew for joining us as well. Fell asleep on this sofa. Forgot to set your alarm on here. But I
Age
think
is catching up on Andrew.
we've got lots of comments here. I'd have Saka in front of Tierney and Aubameyang in the middle. I don't see a place in the starting lineup for Lacazette. He can be the impact sub, but not starting. I think his stock has actually dropped so much that Nketiah is starting to take his space. Saka and Martinelli rotation on the left wing in front of Tierney. Correct? We'll buy that, Andrew. We have plenty of options on the wings and up front for rotating them. It's our midfield that needs a drastic upgrade. We have no output from there. Tony, given that comment from Stephen, it's so important that we are able to get a midfield player.
Get rid of
And
him.
Partey is the player that we're all interested in right now.
Partey, Torreira, Sabeos. That's a good midfield, I would think.
Yeah, Rohan, it's my feeling that somehow, some way, Granit Xhaka is one of Arteta's favorite players in midfield. And
He's got nudes on everyone.
If Partey, he's got nudes with everyone. If Partey is
Definitely.
coming into the team, that Torreira will be the player who makes way.
And it's just going to frustrate us. That's I mean, we can't pick Arsenal's 11, right? Like everybody can see it, and we can week out keep saying that we see it. The issue is that's such an important position. It's not like Shaka's position is one of the most important positions in the pitch, and we're just sacrificing that position by persisting with him. If we can upgrade, we need to upgrade. That's one. And second thing is that on the right hand side, let me just touch on that thing about Martinelli. I mean, I don't think Martinelli should play on the right hand side. I am excited by Pepe. If I were the coach, then like I've said before, I would make Pepe practice cutting in on the left and taking a curler like 2 hours every day for the next 1 year so that he can do it with his eyes closed, because he has that close control. Like Robin, he can create space. He doesn't have any issue in creating space. It's just the execution that is missing right now. But I think he can do that.
Thunder Road, 7 p.m. UK time every Sunday, 7 p.m. UK time. So join us here, or 7:10, right, Tony?
Or 7:15.
No, don't push it. Don't push it, Tony. Don't get out of line. We're about quality, but not punctuality, right?
Yep.
Lacazette will be better and give you more goals if the midfield was better. He's doing the midfield and forwards work, and I think this is something that if the coach knows this, Mahir, if the coach knows that he's asking Lacazette to do all that work in midfield to compensate for what's going on in midfield, then he's going to persevere with Lacazette, right?
Yeah, like I say, it just depends, man. It depends. We all have our opinions on Lacazette. I mean, he's a very lovable guy. But if you can upgrade, why not? And I mean, if you can upgrade in your midfield, why get rid of Lacazette though then? If you can improve on, basically, if he does get you more goals, if you get a Thomas Partey, you have a Ceballos, and you have Torreira. But can I ask, you know what's weird to me, guys? All this love for Granit Xhaka and people and Gunners fans wanting to sell Torreira over Xhaka. They're like, oh, Torreira, we can let go. We've got Granit Xhaka. I'm like, what in the bloody hell are you guys thinking?
Who are these fans?
Yeah, there's so many of them, Rohan. That's my
People
question. When I look at them, I see them online. I'm like, what are you guys all on about? A whole line of comments, 20, 30, 40, 50 comments. Oh, no, it's okay, guys. You can sell Torreira. We've got Granit Xhaka and all this praise for Granit Xhaka. I'm like, what are you guys? Sorry, mind my language, but what are you guys smoking?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Andrew said if we couldn't get Partey, go for Calvin Phillips from Leeds. He dominated us in the cup, and he's a quality player. I agree with that. But here's my point: we're looking at our rivals, and they're upgrading. They're buying what you want to call marquee players, and we really need to do the same thing. I think it's going to be really, really bad if we don't get this Partey deal over the line, just for the simple fact that Chelsea went out, paid the money, we've got three players now, and they've identified an area on the field, Rohan, that they need to upgrade in the striker position. And they went out and got Timo Werner over Liverpool, who seem to have backed out of that deal.
See, this is the point, right? Like everybody says, oh, Liverpool is after this player, so we have no chance. Arsenal fans also say that, but Chelsea has proved that they can go and get the player, but you have to be proactive. But with this Timo Werner transfer, I am telling myself that now Aubameyang is going to stay, because if Aubameyang does
Mhm.
not stay, I am going to like come out with a rant, because they should have then sold him right now and got Timo Werner in, because
Exactly.
there is no reason why you wouldn't get him. Like
Would you have
it's
sold
a
him to Chelsea? Rohan, would you have sold Aubameyang to Chelsea and get Timo Werner in?
but why would we sell to Chelsea? Like I mean,
Well, but
I do a swap with
you're
with
saying
RB Leipzig
Yeah,
or something.
you're saying
exactly.
it comes to pass we should have sold Aubameyang.
No, we shouldn't. So that's why I'm saying that I think Arsenal are going to keep Aubameyang, and I'm perfectly happy with that. I would pick Aubameyang over Timo Werner every day of the week. But if we were to sell him, then we should have gone in and got Werner, especially if he's come for 49 million, which is peanuts.
And Andrew is saying he agrees, of course, but if we don't sell, where's the money coming from? Chelsea have an owner who buys players for the team and puts the money in the club. We don't, and that's the problem, really. Um, Rohan, I think this season we need to put up our shell up. We need to go get a player and not invest in the type of players that we've got in already. A George Lewis, who is a 19-year-old Norwegian teenager. That's for the future. We need to get some talent in our midfield this window.
I've had enough of the next Ozil and the next Mahrez and the next, Varane or something. I want Varane of now, or I want like the player of
Yeah.
now. I don't want somebody who might develop in the next 5 6 years. And I do understand that we need to sell to buy, and that's why I said that we need to sell Lacazette, we need to sell Kolasinac, and we need
Coffee,
to sell Mustafi. That'll
Shaka,
get us a good,
Ozil.
and Xhaka. This will probably get us a good transfer budget. I would assume that it'll get us 80 90 million selling these four players, and then we sign quality.
Assemble Stephen Denham, Lacazette role in the team has changed, but no one seems to notice. Tony, I think we've noticed that you shared with me the heat maps for Lacazette. Just explain those for us
Yeah, he's almost playing dead center in the midfield.
under Arteta. Whereas under Emery, he was playing more in the box.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think Arteta, and that's a tough thing for a striker, Mahir. He's been asked to do, maybe he's been asked to do a job for the team. And, the fans aren't always going to see that.
But this is the reason why you have to balance your squad out from defense to the midfield, to the attacking lineup up front. Because, like you're saying, 4-3-3, I can think of defenders right now, as everyone's mentioned, and Tony would agree with me as well. Ceballos, Torreira, and a Thomas Partey. I think that I would love to have that as our midfield. Possibly, if you look at somebody like Chelsea, our rivals, I would love to have a Pulisic and a Timo Werner up front, but have a Kovacic, Pulisic, Kante midfield, for example, which I think we were linked to Kante. We could have gotten Kante instead of Xhaka. All stupid things that make so much sense to us, but obviously management can't see that the team scouting or doing trying to bring in players obviously didn't see that, and we just got robbed. And even at this at recently we were looking to sell him to, was it, well, what was that team now? It was a
Hertha
German
Berlin.
team,
Hertha
Hertha
Berlin.
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 For 40 million.
Bloody hell, seriously. With that 40 million, you could have gone out and gotten Max Aarons for 20 and gotten a Decore, who's another example of another quality midfield. I mean,
Or
can
have
you
a
picture this, guys?
paid
Yeah,
party.
can you picture this, guys? Thomas Partey, right? You got Torreira, you got Ceballos, and you got Decore as your four midfielders. And chop and change as you please.
I
We can
really,
only dream, guys.
I really hope we can picture that in the near future. But Andrew said if we can't buy a dominant midfielder like Partey, then we may as well say goodbye to Ceballos as well. Unfortunately, I do love Ceballos, but he needs a Partey type beside him. And looking back on the game yesterday versus Charlton, um, Arteta played Granit Xhaka as his deep defensive midfielder, and he played two number eights a little bit ahead of him, Rohan, with Ceballos being one of them. And maybe that's something that Arteta wants to do moving forward.
But why? Torreira should be at the base of midfield, right? He is the guy who is the specialist in that position. And why do we try to keep playing people who are not specialists in that? Granit Xhaka is not a specialist DM. He should not be patrolling our midfield because he can't get across quick enough. That's his fault. Like, I mean, it's clear. We're just gonna get overrun in midfield.
Guys, Granit Xhaka is a specialist, nothing. Does he have a position? No. I had this conversation with a gunner last night, and he was trying to defend Granit Xhaka. I said, please shut up. Don't talk to me about anything about Granit Xhaka. He's saying, no, maybe we could have used him as a number 10 because he plays for Switzerland in the number 10. I'm like, what in what? What are you saying? He doesn't have a position. He's not a central attacking mid. He's not an attacking mid. He's not a DM defensive mid. He's complete piece of trash, unfortunately to say. Jesus. Jeez, man.
So
Like
so
you're
we
like,
did have this thread. If we remember, we had this thread a couple of days ago on Twitter, right? Like where all of us were apart, and there was a German fan as well, a Berlin fan, I think, who was part of that, and who said that at Mönchengladbach, uh, Shaka was like their best player,
Yeah.
and so they in Germany are super impressed with Xhaka, and obviously they have not seen any of his games in Arsenal. So
Nothing at
I
all.
think I think
For 4
I
years.
think let's be fair. I think that Xhaka in Germany or Xhaka in Italy especially could do really well. He could do
Mm,
well,
Yeah,
but the Premier League is just too fast for him.
a different
way too
animal.
fast.
Different animal. The Assemble and Steve and Denham are talking and saying basically we have to understand Lacazette is not playing as a striker under Arteta. He's playing more as a midfielder, more of a midfield role. Um, so let's think about this on the field of play. We have Granit Xhaka covering for Saka on the left side when Saka gets forward, and we have Lacazette dropping from the front areas into midfield to pick up the ball and help out. It's not really very functional, is it?
Mm.
What is Lacazette's number?
Nine.
What number does he wear? He wears 9, right? His
Yeah.
his primary job is to score goals. If he's not scoring goals, then that's a problem. He is the striker for Arsenal. He needs to bang at least 20 goals in the Premier League a season, and he's not managing that, and he's never managed that. And I do love the contribution that he brings to the team, but this is not Liverpool where we have a Salah and a Mane who are contributing with 25 goals a season. We depend on Aubameyang game after game to score goals and to get us through. Or now we're depending on Martinelli, a kid who's just come into the Premier League. This is the state that we're in. We need to have our number 9 who's scoring goals.
Yeah. Andrew says, don't knock George Lewis. I'm not really knocking George Lewis. I'm knocking the ambition of the club. In a normal sequence of things, George Lewis could be at the club for 3 seasons before he even gets into the first team, maybe 2 seasons. And he should progress. He should progress that way. I'm not saying that he's going to be in the first team, but he should be able to progress. So we get a George Lewis in this window, and we get a Thomas Partey who's going to go into the first team and help the team. I'm just worried about the ambition of the club. That we're looking at Chelsea, they're looking at the areas in their team that they have to fill, and they've gone out and they've done it. And can we compare ourselves to Chelsea and talk about them in the same breath at this point in time? That would be difficult to do, right?
Yeah.
Chelsea would have been clear if they had a striker. They would have been clear in the race for top four.
Right.
We are just 5 points behind them because they don't have a striker. Their only issue in their team was that.
So how big is the game, Rohan, versus City? Uh, just as you said, we are 5 points behind Chelsea. We have a game in hand, but that game in hand is at the Etihad. So that would be huge, huge 3 points if somehow, some way we could win up there.
We have to go there with a game plan and execute that game plan. I hope that Arteta has some tricks up his sleeve, and we can get the result. Before the break, City wasn't in good form, so I would have loved to play them then because they lost a couple of games, including to Manchester United. Now, who knows what form has gone out of the window because it's like a new season, right? But
You've got
we have
nothing to
to
lose.
treat we've got nothing to lose. This is a bonus game for us, right? And we
Yeah.
have to go in there to get 3 points will be massive. And 3 points in this game, we are back in the mix for top four.
Up for a conversation.
Otherwise, if we don't get anything from this game, then unfortunately, I think that top four is way out.
Out of
So
sight. Yeah.
Mahir, Arteta is going to be the new George Graham. This is like Anfield. He's going to tell the players exactly how it's going to pan out at the Etihad. Keep it tight. We go in 0-0 at halftime. We get a goal early on, and they'll get nervous, and then we'll get another goal. We're going to win 2-0 at the Etihad.
Look, I would
If
love for
if
it to happen. I would love
if
for it
only
to
we had.
happen exactly like you say, hey?
Mhm.
What you saying?
I
If
said
only we had.
if we only had characters like this. Arteta is actually in reality what's going to happen is Arteta will give them a game plan, and then we'll go all pumped in, and then 1 minute in Aguero is going to score. that's
Oh
that's the
dear.
character of this team.
Just like
Yeah,
you're
to be honest with you, I wish we had characters like that to say, listen, you guys, we honestly have nothing to lose. This is a bonus game. If we can get points out of this, it would massively improve our chances of getting into top four. So let's just give it everything we've got. And it's always been like this in recent podcasts. Haven't we said if you just give it your all, us fans won't be disappointed with you. We won't be like, oh, we just got hammered by Man City. We'll be like, yes, they beat us 4-0, but we basically bled on the field. Everybody, I've got nothing bad to say about any of the players like that at the end of a game.
Carl said we need to keep Alba and Laka and get Partey. We won't get much money for Kolasinac, Mustafi, or Xhaka. Also, they are on big wages. Yeah, definitely. I think key is definitely to keep Aubameyang and get Partey in the deal. I would like to keep Lacazette in an ideal world. I would like to keep Lacazette, but if it means getting Partey, I would probably be okay with swapping Lacazette and Partey.
Get rid of
Sorry, guys.
Hector.
I just wanted to tell you guys. Unfortunately, my time has come to an end. Much love to everybody who joined us. Joined me also, and I love you guys. Just guys keep safe, and yeah, until next time.
Take care, Maher.
Take
Thanks
care,
for
mate.
joining.
Be well,
We'll,
guys.
we'll stay on for another 15 or so. Take care.
Right.
Yeah,
BT.
yeah. So Tony, I wanted to ask you after we talk about Andrew's comment here. We want to go through our formations. Maybe let's think about the Manchester City game. What formation, what personnel you would play. You don't have to give me your full 11. Just tell me what you'd be thinking about doing if you were Arteta playing in the Etihad.
4-1-2-3.
So Andrew said he likes Lacazette, but he's a penalty box striker. I know he's been playing a different role, but that's not him. He works hard, yes, but we need to play players in their preferred role. I think that's a very difficult thing that Arteta is having to come to grips with. I think, Rohan.
But that's the reality of it, right? The fact is that if he has to drop into midfield all the time, then our midfield is not doing that task. We need goals from him. He's not that player. A lot of times I felt when he's dropped into midfield, he's sort of run into other people's way, That's also
Yeah,
happened.
he's taking their
And
space. Yeah.
and he's got plenty of chances to score. It's not like he hasn't had the chances because he's dropping back. He's had the chances, but he's not been able to score, and that's because he's an instinct based striker. So that's what it is.
I want to just come over me here. I want to say thanks to everybody watching on playback. We all have this special bond. All of us in the panel here, all of us in the watching and on live and on playback. We all have this crazy thing called a love for the Arsenal, and we just wanted to give a little bit of love back. Buy some players, make us a little bit more competitive, so we can get back. Um, so we can be competitive when winning competitions. And you know, I think Rohan, you've probably been asked this question a couple of times. I mean, what's more important to you, the top four at this point, or the trophy that maybe could be the FA Cup?
I would like to get into the top four more than winning the FA Cup, but it seems
Be, re- be,
distant. We've
be realistic right now. Given that we're in ninth place, I'm not trying to be tough on you, and we're 5 points off for top four. Do you think it's more realistic at this point to aim for top four than the FA Cup?
No, I think FA Cup is more realistic than
Yeah.
than winning the champions than
Really,
getting into the Champions League.
really, a lot of it is based off of how quickly we can start and play well, get a positive result at the Etihad, and our subsequent games, which are going to be away from home. All right, Tony, give me your formation at the Etihad against Manchester City.
Well, going back on to the FA Cup, if we win the FA Cup, then we get to the group stages of Europa, so it guarantees us European football.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
There's a route there.
and on the formation, I do a 4-1-2-3.
Who's your two central defenders?
Does it really matter? Probably.
I mean, there's some that are a little bit better than others, right? Who would you pick?
Probably Mari and Socrates for me.
Mari and Socrates. Okay, 4-1-2-3. Okay, you play two number eights.
Yep.
Okay, Rowan.
I'd play a 4-2-3-1, which is Arteta's preferred formation, I think, anyway, because we need two defensive midfielders. So I think in the three in midfield, with the players that we have, I think I'd play Torreira, uh, Shaka, and Ceballos. Really,
He said
that's
that
what we
so
have.
quietly. He said that so
Yeah.
quietly. Who's your two central defenders?
Yeah, I think Socrates and Murray are good. See, we have to give Murray a shout in because he we need to see whether we need to keep him or not, and what uh, this is baptism by fire, right? Playing at the Etihad against Man City, and
Yeah,
let's
it's
see
really,
what he's got.
we're really going to be able to evaluate how decent he is,
Hmm.
or otherwise. Um, yeah, he has the two clean sheets on that West Ham game, the last game we played. Let's not forget that West Ham had some prime chances against us
Hmm.
before we went on to win that game. I would play David Luiz and Pablo Mari together. Yeah, I think David Luiz has been the ever constant in Arteta's teams, and I don't think he's going to shy away from that. I think Pablo Mari has. I think they've started to just they played in the West Ham game, so they need to develop that understanding a little bit further. I would play 4-2-3-1. Yes, our midfield's so bad that Granit Xhaka is in there with Torreira and Ceballos. Yeah, so let's see what happens with that. You know,
Yeah.
3 points will be massive. Um, Carl, I don't think the wages is a problem. The wrong type of player is getting too much money, and here we
This,
are.
I think, has been a problem with Arsenal for the longest time, right? Where we've had this socialist model of paying everyone around about the same thing, same money. At least we used to do that a few years ago. A person breaking into the first team, a youngster that we brought in was getting
Too much too soon.
50 60 grand, 50
Yep.
60 grand, while in other teams they would be getting like 20 or 30 grand. And our big players were also not making that much, and now we've moved our big players to get big money, but our youngsters are also getting a lot of money. I want us to be ruthless. If you're breaking into the team, if you're a newcomer, just look at the wages that Chelsea is paying. Kante wasn't on too much compared to his performance on the pitch. There are so many other players who aren't at mega wages, and we just have to be clever about it.
Andrew has put together three comments that make complete sense. We're not going to get to where we want to go. We need to upgrade Jack. As simple as that. He's a decent player for someone else, not for Arsenal. Hasn't worked out for us. I say again, why play Lacazette in the deeper role if he's not scoring? He serves no purpose. Absolutely. Two good points there. And then I do like Lacazette, but he's not as good as Aubameyang, and Aubameyang needs to be up front. We have pointed out, Tony and I have pointed out, Rohan, that Aubameyang's goal scoring record is more impressive from the left side, but we need to see what he can do through the middle. The numbers don't lie.
That's just a you know as they say, right? Like there are lies, there are damned lies, and then there are statistics. So that's what this is. You're comparing a guy who's played 3 games up front versus playing 15 games on the left hand side, and then you say that he scored more goals from the left. It's he has played in the center for Dortmund, and he will score goals. It doesn't matter. I am convinced that you could play him at left back and he would still score goals. Right?
This, this,
That's the type of player he is.
this is a good comment from Thunder Road. Xhaka is the best captain we have. I'd go to war with him, but I'd have him on the bench for football. Xhaka reminds me of the lieutenant or the general who's going to blow the whistle and tell everyone to go out of the trenches and into no man's land, and he's still there blowing the whistle. Just go ahead, lads. I'll be right here blowing the whistle.
Xhaka
He's a
Xhaka
bugle
should be
boy.
given the role of Gunnersaurus.
Gunnersaurus. Tony,
To me, he's a bugle boy.
bugle boy. Stephen, great comment here. if we can sort the midfield out, Lacazette will bring the goals. I have every faith that he can get 20, but the midfield has to be upgraded massively. What we have, we're dead. Okay, Andrew said he was joking about George Lewis, but seriously, we need to be buying players before they become world stars like Martinelli. And kudos to the club. They went out and got Martinelli last season, and you're going to have some success stories along the way as well. And it's not all doom and gloom. And we have to put a lot of faith in our youths. Stan the man is here. Can't wait for Mkhitaryan and El Neni to come back. They'll be like LANS, like a new signing. Land. We won't get beaten by City. I'm absolutely certain. Where's all this optimism coming from, Rohan?
This is the lack of football. I mean, that's what football fans are, right? We get thrashed one week, and then the next week we go in with a sense of optimism, and that's the great thing about football.
There's always
there are upsets
another game. There's always another possibility, right?
Yeah. And I'd said this on Andrew's podcast actually, that if I had to associate a movie with Arsenal, it would be 51st Dates for me, right? Like I get knocked back every time, but then the next time I go in, like it's a new time, and I have this optimism again, and I'm fighting for it again, and I'm pumped up again. I have never ever given a prediction before a match that we're going to lose. The worst that I've given is that we're going to draw when we are playing prime Barcelona or Bayern Munich as well. Yeah. So that's the way fans are.
Well, when I started this channel, remember the game against Liverpool, we were beaten 5-1. I put a video out, 3 ways we can beat Liverpool. Well, they didn't follow my game plan. And for me, Tony, think of a movie that would remind you of Arsenal as well. For me, it would be Groundhog Day, just from Rohan describing it. It's like Groundhog Day. You got any movies, Tony? Horror movies?
I want to do movies. I do Russian Doll, the TV series.
Russian Doll, the TV series. Does that remind you of Arsenal?
Yep.
All right. And Carl's right. We can't keep it tight though, and that's the issue. We just talked about West Ham, our last game. We gave up a couple of good chances before we actually won the game. Arsenal's spine in the team isn't right. Win
hasn't been for 15 years.
Yeah, a win against City would do wonders for our confidence and set us on our way to finishing the top 4. This is probably the most difficult fixture of the 10, Rohan. I was trying to put a spin on it on the last podcast, or maybe when we did the predicted finish, where somehow we got Arsenal into the top 4. Check that out if you want to laugh. A couple of podcasts, maybe last Sunday, I think we did that a couple of podcasts back. We actually pushed Arsenal into the top 4. But, Tony, it would be really, really big for us if we could win. Probably our most difficult game of the 10 is our first one here. Hopefully we can catch City on the hop a little bit.
It'd be a nice one. It'd be nicer if we got at least 4 points against Chelsea instead of just 1, then we'd be right there in the top 4 race.
And Rowan, if we win that game, confidence is going to soar through the squad. I mean, it's a big if, but if we win the game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at the 10 fixtures that we have. We've got City, and then Brighton, Southampton, Norwich, Wolves. If we win City, and then we sort of go into the next games with confidence, we have to collect points there, because after that we've got 3 difficult fixtures, which is Leicester, Tottenham, and Liverpool, right? So there, yeah. So yeah, exactly. So we have to collect points in this run, and that could set us up for a good finish, because our last 2 games are against Villa and Watford. So this game is a massive game, bonus game. Get 3 points, and we're back in the mix.
And Andrew is making a really, really good point here. Which way will Arteta go? Will he go for the experienced players to get him through these 10 games, or will he go for the enthusiasm and athleticism of youth? We should play our young players, Willock, Nelson, Saka, Guendouzi, Martinelli, Tierney, and just use their athleticism, energy, and commitment and blow City out of the water. Rohan?
I like that idea, but
Me too.
I think some of them, Saka, Martinelli, these guys are ready. Uh, you know, I wouldn't really mind a Guendouzi and Pereira partnership if that's what it is against City as the two defensive midfielders, and then Ceballos as sort of the number 10 there. I wouldn't mind that. So yeah, but we have to test out the squad. We need to know which players need to be here for the next season and which ones need to go out on loan or be sold. And these youngsters are up for audition.
Yeah, and as Carol said, we can't get beaten 4-0. That would not be good for confidence. Stephen, thanks for joining us. Appreciate you. We need to start well and get a run on the go. And winning builds confidence. And maybe we can catch some teams a little bit cold as well. Tony, top four is well within our reach points wise, but we need Wolves, Spurs, United, and Sheffield United to all drop points. But in our Arteta, I believe. We're going to go into on Thursday night in detail on of the direct competition that we're going to have for the top four race. I actually did a spreadsheet way back on March 8th, not knowing that football would be scuppered for the rest of for most of the season. It's been 3 months later, March 8th. Stan, can't believe we shelled out 24 million this season for David Luiz. And the canine doesn't like that idea
Even
either.
even Tony's dog is in
His
disagreement.
objection to that 24 million.
What are they smoking out there?
Here's Andrew's team: Leno, Tierney, Mari, David Luiz, Bellerin, Xhaka, Ceballos, Saka, Ozil, Pepe, and Aubameyang. So it looks to be it's got Saka in midfield, maybe as a winger. What about Martinelli? And that's the thing. There's going to be many games for all of these
Yeah.
different players. And Rowan, you're in favor of rotating Martinelli and Saka.
Uh-huh. And that's for next season. But right now, what I think is that even though we're playing after such a long time, I think we're playing every 3-4 days. We've got a lot of fixtures to get through in a short span
Yeah,
of time. So there
you're
will be
right. We're also
rotation.
there's going to be plenty of games, and these games are going to come thick and fast every 3 days. And you're probably going to have some muscular injuries because they've been training, but they have not been in the gym. They're maybe not training to the way they're accustomed to doing it. And Andrew said
Mhm.
4-2-3-1 and migrating to 4-3-3 was what I had said earlier. Tony, you still with us? Xhaka or Ozil, you can only keep one. Rohan. That means Xhaka stays another year for me, right?
Yeah, I mean that's true because his wages we need to get Ozil's wages off our books. But in reality, Shaka is the one who has value because he has a few years left on his contract. So
Yeah, I think it was I don't think we're going to get trashed 4-0 and but that would definitely dent our confidence. Everything's in the past regarding getting smashed. I don't think we're going to go to Stamford Bridge anymore and lose 6-0. Go to City and lose 6-3. Like these are scorelines we have got burned into our brains, right, Rohan? Go to Old Trafford and
yeah,
lose what score? 8-2.
don't even say that, man.
No more
That's a
under Mikel Arteta.
PTSD.
We
PTSD.
believe, we believe.
Yeah,
Um,
we always believe.
Mari makes Per Mertesacker look like Bellerin. Any comedy movie because we were a joke. Okay, nice one. You are convincing me. Let's go with your optimism. So, Andrew, nice job convincing.
I like Andrew lineup. I mean, I just the only player I don't know if I'd play Ozil in an away tie to City.
Yeah, I just
That's
don't know if we have players in midfield. I mean, you could play Guendouzi, but is Guendouzi a is he someone you would play in that kind of atmosphere? Although it's going to be an empty stadium.
I play.
Just caught myself. Empty stadiums. Guendouzi could play in those, right?
Yep.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you give him a task and you tell him to stick with that.
So here's me talking about the Etihad atmosphere, and we don't know what it's going to look like.
It'll look like how it was before the lockdown.
And Carol, Andrew does have his own YouTube channel at Data Square. Go check him out. Rohan's been on a couple, and Stan's been on a couple. The only signings will be whoever Raul's contacts want to shift. Nice.
Unfortunately.
So Andrew's enthusiasm is infectious. Everything is different now. We have Arteta. He knows what he's doing. I'm convinced we won't lose to City. If anyone knows how to play against City. And Andrew, if we get the results, I'd be thinking about you first. Andrew said so. Currently, without football, I've been doing my own version of classic Desert Island Discs, which I call Desert Island Discs. Tune in, it's good fun. And I think on the show, Rohan, you've had to pick some things you would take on a desert island, right?
Yeah, so his concept is really great. Enjoy it, and it comes out every week, and he's got some great guests on it. Highly recommend it. Go on there.
Oh, we just got an invite. He wants the cast of Arsenal Fan Circle to come on the show to give us your choices of desert island discs.
I'm done now. You guys' turn.
Simon, call my agent, Andrew. It'll be a fee. No.
Yeah, Stan and I are done.
Stan is Laz. There you go. And Carol's going to subscribe. And that's it. I want subscribers to check out other channels as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, catch Stan on Thursday nights. Oh, I don't know if is there a double jeopardy in that situation, Rohan? And Carl remembers when we were 4-0 up at halftime. Remember that? That may be the best result we ever got against Newcastle in recent times. If they're going to be that powerhouse.
Is he talking about the 4-0 win this season, or is he talking about when we let go of the 4-0 win?
No, Carl's talking about when we raced into a 4-0 lead after about 30 minutes, and we ended up
4-4.
We ended up 4-4. That was a highlight. I'd replace Ozil with Smith Rowe next season without a shadow of doubt. I think Smith Rowe, after having a couple of loan seasons, he'll be back. Guendouzi always seems to be full of energy and enthusiasm.
But he just isn't a specialist on anything, really, is he?
Yeah, we got to fix up midfield. I think that's it. But, yeah, got to have faith. We got faith in Mikel Arteta and what he's doing with the squad. Tony, what's your feeling for the rest of this season, what we're heading into here?
And it's kind of hard to know what's
optimism.
happening. Hopefully we keep building on the form we had. We were third in the form table. Hopefully we can make top.
We're gonna dive into that on Thursday night. We're gonna look at the form table. We're gonna look at the head-to-head key fixtures that are coming up between the Manchester United from Chelsea down to us, which is 5 or 6 places, and any 3 any 2 or 3 teams can come out of those 5 or 6 teams. It's all to be it's all there to be played for, right, Rohan?
Yeah, we have to go for it. We have nothing to lose. So we have to go in and play. And I think I'm excited to see this because previously, this season has been probably the worst season that I have since I have been following Arsenal for the last 17,
Yeah,
18
absolutely
years.
worse. Yeah,
And it was a chore to get up and watch Arsenal. I would still tune in every week, but watching Arsenal itself had become a chore. And then once I hate the first early kickoff in on Saturday, which as us in the US we would catch it at 7:30 in the morning
mhm.
in the East Coast, and then you would lose or draw that as we inevitably did this season, and the whole
The
weekend
rest
goes
of the
for a
day.
toss, right? So
Yeah, when you're done waking
so
up at 6:30.
exactly, so
And
there's been
you're
a couple
right.
of times when I've caught it on the West Coast. It's 4:30 in the morning, and then you see that crap performance. It's just
Yeah,
so I'm excited to see Arteta's ideas come into play. He's going to make mistakes, but this is a good time for us to gauge what Arteta is doing, and then next season we have a real go.
yeah. And let's remember this is the continuation of what Arteta's been doing since December. So it's not really a new season. It's a continuation. It's it's been beneficial, I think, that he's had time to do Zoom calls and connect with the players on a personal level. And I think we will see that translated on the field. Like you said, Rohan, this is one of the worst seasons we've ever witnessed. I remember back in '93, maybe it was, we were flirting with relegation as well. But even in those times, the team was able to become a cup team and win a couple of cups that season. Hopefully, it happens this season. We can all look back at various periods in this season. Um, what was your really, really low light this season? For me, it was probably that Crystal Palace game where Granit Xhaka was coming off of the pitch. Tony, what was your worst moment this season?
Probably that.
Granit Xhaka gesticulating towards the fans. Rowan, other things with Granit Xhaka, the excuse for the Watford result, we were scared. A lot of things not to be really proud of. We are proud of our team, but not the way we were coached
Not granted.
pre Arteta.
Sure. I think the lowest that I felt was probably after Brighton. We lost to Brighton, and
Yeah,
I was traveling for work, and it was just so bad. That game tipped me over from anger towards Emery to just plain sympathy towards him. I was like,
yeah.
this guy's a
And
goner. Just take him out of his misery. It's not his fault anymore.
when you
That
said,
was
Rohan, when you said that you always back Arsenal to win, well, I actually didn't see the game, but I knew we were not going to win against Leicester away from home.
that was yeah.
That was a
I was
very
I was gonna mention that. I was gonna mention that this was the first time where it was everybody knew it. Leicester were on a high, we were in the dumps, and everybody knew that we were going to go there and get beat,
yeah.
and we did actually go there and get beat. I was still like against hope. My heart was like, no, we can maybe get a performance there or something, but we crumbled. It was
Let's
embarrassing.
let's let's mirror that one with the Chelsea result under Arteta, where the team performed admirably with one man down as well. So, as Carl has said, let's back Arteta, Tony. He needs to be allowed to choose who's in or out, and he needs to find out more about his team under these 10 plus games. We got FA Cup games as well, Tony.
To me, he's still picking too many favorites and just not going with the best players.
Yeah, yeah. That's definitely, there is a situation there, Rohan, where he's sort of been siding with players that he maybe knew, or the one player he knew from his playing days, and some of the other established players.
It's we have to See, all the fans, every fan has a right to their opinion before the game or after the game. During the 90 minutes, I'm sure each Arsenal fan is right behind whatever 11 is there, the manager, the subs, everyone, like everyone is behind the team, and we want them to win.
Yeah.
That's just what it is.
All right. Final thoughts is thanks everyone for joining me, joining us, the panel. Mahir, thanks for joining. Rohan, thanks for joining. Final thoughts, Rohan?
Excited for
Yeah, it's close
Arsenal
now,
to be
right?
back. You know, it's 10 days, and in fact, we got a glimpse
Yeah.
yesterday. So
And
it's
actually,
great. You know,
we're going to probably have a little bit more news in the coming week, but next Sunday we will do a little bit more of a preview into the game. Tony, final thoughts?
And just ready to see us play some football.
And your dog does not want us to spend 24 million on David Luiz
Nope.
this coming season. That's for certain.
Bye.
Listen, everyone out there, thanks for watching. This has been another episode of Arsenal Fan Circle. Without all of you, it would be just three of us talking. So I really appreciate everyone coming in, watching, and everyone on playback as well. Until next time, until Thursday night, we're going to review all the head-to-heads in the race for the top four. And thanks for joining it, everyone. And
take care.
until then, come on, you Gooners, up the Arsenal.